Welcome back. So I have been meaning to do this video for a while. I will be honest, I didn't really prepare for it other than just grabbing all of the books out of the collection, but I figured we can just chat about it because, like I said, I've been wanting to do this for a while, and even though this video has no direction, hopefully you will find it entertaining. So as you can tell from the title of this video, we are talking all about my beloved Murder, She Wrote collection. Yes, Murder, She Wrote as in the 1980s TV show starring the fabulous, I wanted to say Jessica Fletcher, but that's just her character name, Angela Lansbury. So if for some reason you don't know what Murder, She Wrote is and you've been living under a rock for the last, I don't know, 30 years. Murder, She Wrote is a beloved murder mystery show that came on in the 80s, like I said, and it stars Jessica Fletcher, and essentially she is an amateur sleuth who solves crimes either in her hometown as well as in different cities across the world. She also doubles as a best-selling author. She used to be a school teacher, so essentially she is a retired school teacher turned best-selling mystery author who moonlights as an amateur sleuth. So that said, let's just kind of talk about what got me into the show and why I have amassed such a collection. So basically, I'm sure I'm not the only one who got into the show this way, but I used to watch it growing up with my granny, and she would put it on. I don't even remember when it used to come on, but she would put it on and I would watch it with her, and she was the one who actually not only got me into the show, but got me into a love for reading, and beyond that, reading mysteries and thrillers. So we would watch the show that was about an amateur sleuth, and then obviously I would go on to read mystery and thriller books, and I actually first came across the serialized book versions of Murder, She Wrote when I was in Guatemala. Yeah, totally different country. I was spending a month there with a family, and like all book nerds do, I was exploring the local bookshops and I came across a certain bookshop. I wasn't looking for anything in particular, but a Murder, She Wrote book stood out to me. I had no idea that they had made books about it. This was about maybe like 10 years ago, I would say. And so naturally I picked one up, I took it back home, and I read it in just a night. I was obsessed with it. It brought so much comfort and joy. Obviously, it reminds me of my grandmother, and obviously because I already had a baseline about who Jessica Fletcher was and all of the characters, I was able to perfectly imagine them because obviously we've got Jessica Fletcher, the main character, but the characters in the show also continue into the book. So the next day I went back to that used bookstore and bought every single Murder, She Wrote book that they had, which I think at the time was maybe like 5 of them, so not much, but regardless, I grabbed them all, I read them all, and I took them back with me in my suitcase when I returned to the States. So fast forward, I guess a couple of months later, I had kind of forgotten about them, and I was in my local used bookstore in my hometown, and I found that they had like 3 more, not that many, but needless to say, it started a trend where every time I would find a Murder, She Wrote book, I would buy it. I'm not going to show you guys, but it came to the point to where I started a list on my phone because I wanted to make sure I didn't accidentally buy a book that I already had. And so, yeah, so my little checklist, and it's just, I love these series, guys. Clearly this video is all over the place. It's just really going to be me gushing about Murder, She Wrote. So if you don't like Murder, She Wrote and you're not trying to get swayed to watch them, I won't be offended if you click off of this video, but if you are still down with it, let's just kind of dive in. So I don't remember the first one that I read, however, just a couple of tidbit facts about it. So there are actually 50 books in the series as of today, and the thing that I love about these books is that the authors on here, in addition to whoever the real life author is, it always lists Jessica Fletcher as one of the authors. So the books are told in first person from Jessica Fletcher, the character's point of view. And so it's usually always written, so the majority of the books that I have read are by Donald Bain. And it's only until recently that he has, I guess, handed the baton off to other people. I want to say his wife has helped co-write some of them. And then I believe in the most recent book, whose title is escaping me right now, but I'll put it on the screen now. I believe it's actually written by somebody else. So that's totally fine by me, because to be honest, these are just more comfort reads for me. However, I do have my favorites. So if you are completely new to the series, I will say you don't have to be a fan of the show or know anything about it to pick these up. At its core, they are cozy mysteries, because Jessica Fletcher is an amateur sleuth and she naturally solves crimes anywhere and everywhere. So her home base, again, if you're not familiar with the show, she lives in Cabot Cove, Maine, which is a fictional town, unfortunately. However, it is based on what I would say is the real life Kennebunkport. And so she solves a lot of the crimes in her hometown, and she will go on a lot of trips. Again, her being a best-selling author takes her to different places around the world, which I absolutely love. And so what is great about these books is that you can really pick and choose based on your preferences. So even though all of the books are obviously following Jessica Fletcher, if you are in the mood for a particular holiday or a particular setting, chances are there are books written about them or set in those scenes. In terms of my collection, I actually only own half of the books. So over my kind of dabbling of collecting them in used bookstores over the years, I have 25 out of the 50. And I don't think that that's actually that bad, considering that I've never ordered them from Amazon. I've never bought them new. And again, as much as I am a huge fan of the series, it's just something, it kind of happened unintentionally, really, because even though I found the first set of books at a used bookstore, and then when I came home, I found the other sets at used bookstores, it just kind of became a thing where I would only kind of serendipitously collect them. So if I'm out and about at a used bookstore, I will go to where I think the mystery section is, and if they have some, great, I will get them all. And if they don't, then that's fine. It just wasn't meant to be. But I actually prefer it that way, because what ends up happening is that most of my collection, save for 2 books, are the paperbacks, which I adore. I prefer paperbacks in general. And then on top of that, I'm trying to find one to show you guys. On top of that, they end up being like perfectly worn in, like this. I love this. Like, you've got your cracked spine, you've got kind of like your, not dog-eared pages, but they're kind of bent because they've been like tossed in someone's bag or read, you know, whatever, on a train, on a plane, it doesn't matter. But these books have some kind of like history to it, which it just adds so much more to my love for the series. And so, yeah, I don't like to buy them new. I'll be honest, the newest one that comes out, it is like one of my most anticipated books. So I might actually break my own rule and order that, because I just can't wait for it to come out on paperback. But for the most part, that's what my collection is. Now, let's talk about some of the settings, because yes, I haven't read all of them, but I feel like I've read a good amount to be able to kind of pick and choose and give you guys some suggestions. So we're just kind of going through the list. Okay, so this is actually one of my favorite ones, just strictly based on the setting. You can tell from the title, Aloha Betrayed. This one takes place in Hawaii, and I believe I read this one last summer. It was definitely, yeah, it had to be summer, because I was in like a aloha state of mind. I was really wanting to go on vacation, and talk about perfect escapism. Now, one of the things that I absolutely love about the series, or what the author does, or however you want to categorize it, is that the books that take place in different settings, you really get a sense for their settings, which I love as a reader, especially when you are trying to escape to that different world. And so, you know, let's just use this one for example. I'm getting all kinds of Hawaiian vibes, and that goes from just the description of the flowers and the ocean and where she stays. And a lot of the times when she goes to different countries or different cities, she is she is in contact with one of the locals who lives there. They end up being like a secondary character. So in this instance, she's meeting a lot of the local Hawaiian people. And so you get a sense of the place that you're in, which I absolutely love. So let me see if I can find another one. Again, I didn't prep for this video at all, except for just taking all these books out of where I keep them. So here's another one, Coffee, Tea, or Murder. This one actually takes place, okay, so this one's probably not the best example because a lot of it takes place on a plane. However, they are going to England, I believe. Hold on. London, yes, okay. So a lot of this takes place in London, so I'm kind of able to still use this as an example, but I love this one because once she steps off of the plane, you're getting all of those London vibes. I specifically remember there are some scenes where it's kind of describing like the cobblestone streets, and it happens like really, I don't want to give too much away because it's like a crucial point in the book, but the setting, it takes place in like a dark alley, and you're getting all of those like rainy London vibes with the handsome cabs, and it's just, I've never been to London, but I picture it exactly how I imagine it would be. I would suggest if you are interested in a certain setting, look through these because you will not only get your sense of setting, but again, you're following characters, not only Jessica Fletcher, but the locals there. So you really get that flavor, which I think really can make or break not even just a cozy mystery, but books in general. Okay, so I'm overwhelmed by the amount of books that I have here. So let's talk about a fun tidbit. One of the things that I noticed that I want to bring up to you guys that I think is such a fun thing, I'm trying to find the books associated with it, is that in part of the series, I can't speak for the hardcovers, only the paperbacks again, because that's mostly what I have. But what is awesome about this is that if you look at some of the books, I'm trying to find them because I literally put them in a stack. Okay, here we go. All of these are just some of them, okay? If you look, there are hidden skulls, like death skulls in the covers, which I think is so clever and such a fun little Easter egg. Okay, so I'm just gonna point them out for you. So here's one here. And I just noticed this a couple of months ago when I was going through and trying to like organize or assess which ones I have. And I just thought it was so clever because in some of these they are more obvious, but in other ones, like this tree covered in snow, you can see it here and it's hidden. And it's just like, oh my God, how adorably clever is that? And I mean, even just the ones that are taking place kind of in the more present day, like this one is set in a Broadway theater. They still managed to hide one. This one is in, you know, ivy and chain link fence. This one is a moon on the beach. And okay, here's one that's in a castle. And so they weave it in. So if you're not paying attention, it's just part of the cover. But I mean, how adorable is that? So that's just like another fun thing that makes me love this collection even more. And I just think it's so fun because who doesn't love any kind of like hidden Easter eggs or anything? And obviously because these deal with murder, having that skull is just like the perfect little iconography to hide in the covers. So what next? Okay, so let me just touch on a couple of my favorites. Actually, let me back up. So really quick, if you're still along with me on this crazy ride, if you are interested in reading these books and you've never read them before, I will say the greatest thing about them is that you do not have to read these in any kind of order. They are essentially just like the show, meaning that they are standalone and each book or each TV show episode has its own standalone beginning, middle, and end. There's no continuation, which I love because that means you can pick up book 32 and then followed by book 12 and so on and so forth. Obviously, if you want to read it in order, that's totally up to you. But I find that the characters are kind of frozen in time, meaning that there's no actual real progression, which I personally love because obviously that means that we can get like 50 books over the past I don't know, 15, 20 years, and we've still got that same Jessica Fletcher character, or Amos, or the sheriff, and it's just wonderful. Okay, so let's just talk about a couple of my favorites, and I'm a little hesitant to suggest where to start, because really I think you need to start out with whatever interests you most. So again, if you are looking for a seasonal type book, then by all means pick up the Christmas editions of these books if you know it's Christmas time and you're wanting that, or if you're wanting some kind of escapism and you're really wanting to get some kind of like London-y vibes, or I don't know, Bermuda vibes, because I know she goes to the Caribbean, then maybe you would pick those up. So I can't really suggest a particular book because it's really going to come down to what you're looking for. However, I do want to kind of talk about my favorites. Again, these are all comforts for me, but there are some that have stood out just because of either the location or the subject matter or the twist or whatever. So let's just kind of go down the list. Again, this video is not organized. Okay, so one of my favorites is Aloha Betrayed, simply because of the setting. It takes place in Hawaii, and I was really feeling some kind of like, I need to escape when I read this book. It was absolutely fabulous. Another thing that I loved about this is how she incorporated the locals, because I learned a lot just in terms of the culture, even just in passing, because when Jessica Fletcher learns something, because the side character who is the native tells her something, you as a reader obviously do the same thing. So that's one of the reasons why I like this one so much. Another one that I loved is A Fatal Feast. This one actually takes place during Thanksgiving, and I probably did read it during Thanksgiving because I'm one of those people who likes to read books seasonally. So I probably read it around November, and I love this one because of the twist, and then also because I have a penchant for the books that take place in Cabot Cove, and that's just because I get to see more of the beloved side characters like Amos and Doc Hazlitt and all of that, and this one actually has him in it. And let's see, in addition to that, oh okay, so I forgot, this one also has George Sutherland, which is kind of like her Irish Bay. If you're familiar at all with the show, he's kind of like an in and outside character where they kind of have a thing, but not really. And in the end, they can't really be together because he's got his life in, you know, doing Scotland Yard thing across the pond, and she's obviously in the States. But he comes to visit during Thanksgiving, and the two of them, when he is in the story, he usually helps her solve the crime, which is what I liked about this one. Another one that I absolutely loved is Majoring in Murder. I got all kinds of back to school vibes. I probably read this during August. I don't even know, but so this one oh God, it's been so long. Oh, okay. So this one, she's actually teaching a course at a local college, and so she, in addition to her teaching a creative writing course, there's another like celebrity author who's also teaching there. Needless to say, they are the ones who end up being murdered, and so she's on the case. But what I loved about this one was just those college campus vibes. It's one of those settings that I really like, and because it's got that murder twist to it as opposed to other genres that are set on college campuses, which are usually like drama or romance, I really enjoyed this one, especially because you know, college campuses have a tendency to kind of be their own little town just because of the small amount of population and everybody knowing each other. So I like this one as well. Okay, I had like a whole little stack, but I think when I picked up the books, I picked them up out of order. Oh, okay, here we go. Okay, so my another one that I love, hold on, that's not the one. Hold on, guys. Here it is. Oops. Okay, my absolute favorite one is Murder on the QE2, and that's because of just everything that I love, and all of the tropes and settings that I love came together into one harmonious Murder, She Wrote book. And this one is set on the Queen Elizabeth II, which is a cruise ship. First of all, I love books that take place on ships. And so naturally this one obviously meets that criteria, which I absolutely adored. It was the cast of characters that really made this book because like I said, she is a guest speaker on this cruise ship, and there are also other characters who are either guest performers or they are high society who bought a ticket. And so I remember there was a scene, and it's been a while since I've been on a cruise, and I don't think that I did this, but apparently there's this thing when you are on cruise ships where you are like assigned tables with a particular group of people. And so that is what happened on this particular ship that she was on. And so the people that she was sitting at a table with, totally just different cast of characters who each had their flaws and their secrets, and one of them ends up dying, and so naturally everybody is like trying to figure it out. And I love the fact that when there's a murder in a place where people can't leave, be it an island or a ship, you know, your suspect list is naturally reduced down to the people who are, you know, standing next to you. And so that's what this one is, and I absolutely adore it. Oh God, it's such a comfort read to me, and I'm getting all like squee just thinking about it. Okay, so what else can I say about this? I guess I can just kind of go through. Oh, here's another one that I love, and I kind of picked this up earlier, but this one is Destination Murder. This is the one that takes place in Canada, and I think she is with her niece. Hold on. I don't remember. I thought she was with her niece, but maybe not. But anyway, I love the setting of this one as well. I believe she was also a guest speaker. I know. Okay, so some of these plots can seem a little redundant, and that's just one of the things, honestly, that I think is a comfort rather than a detriment, because again, you're gonna know, you know what you're getting into when you read these books, but it's just the little details that differentiate them across the series. So for example, obviously there's always going to be Jessica solving a crime. There's always going to be, you know, a character that's not well liked who probably is the one who gets murdered, or maybe somebody close to her is accused of the murder and she has to clear their name. These are all like base level tropes that you know you're gonna get, but it's those fine little details that really, I think, make the story intriguing, whether that's the setting or the cast of characters or the time of year. And that's just really what I enjoy about this. So let's just, I guess, go through the different places that she's been. I don't even know, guys. I just really wanted to share my collection with you. So I will be honest, this video is more for me than you. So if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but I love this collection. I don't even know what to say. So here we go. So we've got like castles. We've got freaking baseball fields. What? Okay, I haven't even read this one yet, but like, what's Jess doing at a baseball field? Ooh, okay, I didn't even see this one. This wasn't even part of my list of little skulls, but look at that one. How cute is that? Oh my gosh. Okay, then we've got her in Manhattan. So she actually visits Manhattan a lot. Did I hold this one up? No, this is another one with a skull. It's like Where's Waldo of skulls, but I guess less hidden. Anyway, I don't even know really what else to say about these guys other than the fact that they are fantastic. So again, I guess I will wrap it up here. Let me know if you guys have any comfort reads, because clearly this is mine and I gush over it all the time whenever I'm kind of down or I'm sick or I don't know what to read next or I'm just like in a funk. Like for example, perfect example. Here it is. I have been reading this one recently. I'll be honest, it's taken me a long time, but during this whole like quarantine pandemic, I have been in like a weird mood and like not reading and not motivated. It's just been a weird headspace, like I'm sure you guys can relate to. And so Murder, She Wrote is the comfort read that I have turned to kind of help get me through all of this. So please subscribe if you like this video. I don't want to say subscribe if you want to see more content like this, because this is like the one series that I absolutely gush about, though I do talk a lot about cozy mysteries. So if you are interested in that, then definitely please subscribe if you want to see videos like that. But yeah, let me know in the comments what your comfort reads are, if it's a series, if it's a TV show, if it's a particular book. I know I'm not the only one who has a comfort read. I might be the only one who is as obsessed with Murder, She Wrote as I am, but that's okay. We each have our own thing. So anyway, this video was what it is. You see this side of me now. I will talk to you guys next time. Happy reading. Take care of yourselves. Bye.